Hi there, this is Tom Marks with PC Gamer, and I'm here to give you a look at The Sims 4. I got a chance to play this game for about 5 or 6 hours last week, and I'm a huge Sims fan. I've played all of the Sims like crazy, so it was really exciting to get this early look at it, and it's really exciting to be able to share it with you. So right now we're looking at one of what I think is one of the biggest changes to The Sims, and one of the best is the build mode changes, where now the game recognizes rooms as a solid thing, which means you can pick up a room, you can move it, you can readjust it, you can rotate it, whatever you want. It's incredibly useful when you're building your house. It's just absolutely great. And on top of that, you can actually just buy pre-made rooms right out of the game for simoleons, not for money. And what that means is it's not something that an experienced sim player is probably going to ever use because there's not many options and they scale up in price really quickly, and it's not very good from that perspective. But new players who usually would just buy pre-made houses can now buy these rooms and still feel like they've customized their house in some way. It's one of those great things that just lowers the barrier of entry going into the series. They never really fixed a lot of the other problems that were always with the build mode stuff, like, you know, placing things on angles and from weird corners and stuff like that. Those have actually gotten a little bit harder now that there's 3 heights to a wall. Additionally, they combined build mode and buy mode, which is awesome. It's one of those things where you're like, why was this not done before? And then you realize a kind of why, because you see I was just fiddling with trying to grab a door, and that's what can happen, is the game doesn't understand if you're trying to grab doors unless you raise the walls up, which can be really annoying and frustrating. So jumping into live mode here, what we have is I have 2 Sims. They're an older brother who's a young adult age and a younger brother who's the child age, which is the youngest possible age right now. They removed toddler from the game. And you'll notice I don't have a computer and I don't have a newspaper and there's nothing like that. And I'm looking for a job right now just on my phone. And they've allowed the phone to do a lot more stuff. And you'll see now that I have 8 jobs to choose from, a lot of which are new. And it really takes away a lot of the progression that's in the game. So what that means is you don't have to look through a newspaper, which only has 2 or 3 options, and then once you can afford it, you buy a $1,000 computer, and then you get more options, and then you find a job you actually want. It's none of that. It's just 8 jobs. Oh, you'll definitely find something you want, and now you can move on. So they've cut out this really good level of, like, moving up with your sim and what money actually means. So now I wanted to talk to my brother about this, that I just got this astronaut job, and you'll see another new thing, the emotion system. My sim has a hates children trait, and so suddenly, since he's talking to his brother, even though I wanted to do this thing where he's like happy about it, and he had an aspiration to do so, since he hates children, he hates his brother, and because of that, he's just angry immediately. And the aspiration that was to enthuse about space is now like yell at someone, which I don't want to do, and I didn't really mean to do, and just because I chose this trait that's unchangeable, I can't ever have a decent conversation with this brother. I could even denounce the friendship if I wanted immediately, even though another one of the aspirations is to, like, be friends. The emotions, although very cool, don't really act differently than the way the moodlets did in Sims 3. They have the same effects on your Sims, they just open some new dialogue options, that sort of thing. But it also gives your Sims more choices like that, but it means that I, as a player, kind of get pigeonholed into what the game wants me to do based on whatever that Sim's emotion is. So I can't make a choice, but my Sims have more options. My Sims could do whatever they want. You know, they have all these different things that they could do. They could tell a joke, they could speak like a cartoon, but to me as a player, that's basically the same thing. The emotions also do affect small things like animations or how they carry their body or how they're speaking to people. You can see he's getting very angry right now, and then he kind of calms down. That's very cool, but it doesn't really mean much when you're a player like me who is usually jumping between the pause button and the 3x speed button. You're only going to notice these things if you're playing in the normal sim speed, which is mind-bogglingly slow for anybody who plays The Sims a lot. you don't really stay on that 1 speed, so those animations are wasted a little bit. So it seems lost, and they said that they actually spent a lot of time on their AI and their emotional animations, and that was one of the reasons they gave for leaving out things like toddler age and pools. And you can see this sim here is like kind of slouching along, but like I'd rather have pools than that slouch animation that I'm going to skip through. Right now we're going over the neighborhood. And the way that neighborhoods work is it's more like Sims 2 than Sims 3. Sims 3, you had this huge town that you could kind of go anywhere in, no load screens. In Sims 2, you had your own lot with just your house. This is a bit of a mix. In each neighborhood, you have about 5 houses that you can just kind of run around. There's usually a park in the neighborhood. And then to get out of that neighborhood and go to other neighborhoods, you have to go through a load screen. And I actually like the way this works. I think that it's a really elegant solution to adding more things right near you while also giving you a ton of options of where to go. One of the best parts of the game also is the art style and the music. The music is absolutely amazing in this game. I mean, expected, the build music and the buy music in The Sims have always been famous, and it's really, they keep with that tradition. The music is amazing in The Sims 4. And the art style, they've gone much more with a kind of Pixar-y, plasticky look, and I very much like that. You can actually make your Sims really kind of extreme in their proportions. You could have them have really, really tiny waists and huge muscles if you wanted, and they look very cartoony. And I think it's a good idea that they went for that extreme kind of style. Now, one of the biggest changes to gameplay, way bigger than the emotion system, is the ability to multitask. So what that means is my sim right now is having a conversation while he's watching TV, while he's eating, which is filling up 3 of his 6 needs all at once. And that's something you could never do in The Sims, and it's another one of those things where you're like, why did they never do this before? Why did it take them 4 versions to get here? But it's great that it is here, and it actually makes things like the radio significantly better than you would think they would be. The radio has become a more useful item than the computer has with the new phone, because the radio, you can have it on and be doing homework or be doing some sort of thing to get a skill up, but since they're also listening to the radio, they're having fun too, and it's increasing multiple stats. But that doesn't mean that your Sims are like completely intelligent now. I still had a Sim pick up a violin to play a violin, and then he set it down in front of the door, and suddenly the door was blocked forever. You know, like that stuff is still in there. It's not like these Sims are complete geniuses yet. You can see here I'm, again, just decided on a whim that I wanted my house to be different, and it's so easy to do. Even just rotating a room is like one of the most useful things that they've ever added to a Sims game. The fact that you can build your house and then change your mind is just so key to making everything easier and more satisfying to use within this game. Additionally, they've also, you'll notice, cut down on the UI a lot, and I think that's a great choice. They brought some people over from their Maxis Emeryville office who worked on SimCity, and they tried to, I think, model their UI a lot off of that, and it shows. It's a much cleaner UI, it's much smaller. And they tried to, once again, keep updating the game. So your phone is this great piece of technology where you can play a game, you can browse the web, you can chat with people, you can call people, you can look for a job. But what that means is this item that's free, every character has, and you start the game with, is basically the be-all, end-all of the game. There's no sense of progression in like, oh, I'm making money, now I can buy a computer. Oh, I'm making money, now I can buy a video game system to have it be easier for my Sims to get fun. You have it all. And those things might be better, or they might have better things for your simulation of whatever you want to do, but also just kind of takes away any challenge of like needing to get money to increase your options. It's interesting to me that they would sacrifice gameplay just to make something more realistic to the way things are nowadays. They also diversified the skills a lot in this game. There's something around 18 or 20 skills now. So whereas creativity was one big skill last time, now there's painting and there's violin and there's guitar and there's all those different skills differentiated. And it makes a lot more sense that if you paint 20 portraits, you're not going to be able to pick up a violin and play it well. Once again, I'm Tom Marks from PC Gamer. Thanks very much for sticking around and taking a look at The Sims 4 with me. Be sure to keep an eye out for our final review of the game when it comes out on September 2nd.